Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special video. Well, I guess I would call this a top 10 video because I've been thinking about this for a while now, and if you guys saw my tweet I put up, you would have seen this video coming. Because I said I was going to make a video discussing about my personal top 10 wrestlers who I feel bad for. Now, like I said, this is all my opinion. This is all my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean like, oh yes, this is who you should feel bad for. If you've got anybody on your list that you feel bad for, please let me know down in the comments. Well, if the wrestlers that, don't make your list, didn't make the list, you can let me know down below. I made sure to memorize my list because, like I said, I'm recording this through the same app that I use for everything. My camera app that I use to record videos, so it's kind of hard for me to see, but anyway, I could casually come over to the computer screen and hopefully that the camera doesn't pick me up or anything. But hey, I should be able to at least remember the list. So anyway, we're gonna start things off here by talking about. We're going to start things off by talking about the first person that was on the list. To me, it wasn't going to be a big list, or it's just going to be like me, like, just going on talking about people who I felt bad for. But, as I was going through the list, I realized I didn't know how many I was talking about, so I started counting up. But then I realized I was at a good amount, so I said, you know what, why don't we make this a top 10 list? So that's why I'm doing this video. This is going to be a top 10 list of wrestlers who I feel bad for. This is just my own opinion, like I said. And if there's anyone who you feel like that should be felt bad for, you can just, let me know down in the comments below on who you think deserves sympathy. Anyway, first person I'm going to be talking about is Mickie James. Now, Mickie James is definitely someone who I kind of feel bad for, but at first, when she was brought back to WWE, I didn't really look at her as, yeah, it was good to see her back and all, but I more looked at her the way I look at her now, just as a person that, is just putting over younger talents, which I was okay with that. I was okay with Mickie James doing that, but everybody was whining and crying about Mickie James deserving, a big opportunity or, deserves another title push. But honestly, I didn't really look at Mickie James as a person that deserved another push. I just looked at her as a person that, is just there to put other people over, which, like I said, I am okay with. I am okay with that because to me, it really wasn't that big of an issue. But what made me change was just from, I don't know when this match happened. I believe it happened on last week's Raw. I just, heard a big report, or just something big happen that I just heard that Mickie James ended up losing a match against Dana Brooke. And when I heard that happened, I was like, there's absolutely no way that was official, because I thought that was at a live event or something. I was like, no way, that can't be real. That would have been just for a live event. So yeah, I check it, and yeah, it actually happened on an episode of Main Event. It happened on an official episode of Main Event. Dana Brooke defeats Mickie James clean. So yeah, that's kind of what made me feel, a bit bad. Made me feel bad for Mickie James. sucks to see her lose to like one of the worst wrestlers in WWE. It doesn't concern me that she's losing, but the fact is that she's losing to like the worst wrestler on the roster. It's just crazy to hear that Mickie James is losing to the worst female performer in WWE. So yeah, just hearing the fact that Mickie James lost to the worst women's wrestler on the roster makes me feel bad for Mickie James. Anyway, next on the list is the glorious Bobby Roode. Now, it's very easy to see why many people would feel sorry for Bobby Roode. Now, I'm not like most people that will whine or, turn their backs on their favorite wrestlers or give up hope on them because of how WWE books them. Yes, Bobby Roode has had some poor booking decisions, and yes, I know everyone's main complaint about Bobby Roode is that he is a face. But I'm not going to be using his whole babyface thing as a reason why I feel bad for Bobby Roode. Babyface Bobby Roode, fine. If you got a problem with that, then that's fine. I'm not going to be against anybody's opinion about that. But what makes me feel bad for Bobby Roode is that he was doing decent on SmackDown Live. He was doing very, very good for himself on SmackDown. Like I said, this is all my opinion. I feel like he was doing fantastic things on SmackDown Live. He became champion, United States champion, and I felt like, he had I felt like SmackDown did wonders for him. And then he gets moved over to Raw, and he's just been losing in every match. He beat Kurt Hawkins. Wow, whoop-de-frickin' do. He beat he friggin' beat Kurt Hawkins. What's that? What makes you so proud? What makes you very proud of that? In my opinion, why should you be proud of the fact that he beat Kurt Hawkins? So, in my opinion, I feel bad for Bobby Roode just because of how they've been using him. Whether if he's a babyface or if he's a heel, WWE could have easily done very well with Bobby Roode, but it just proves that they just... And the other thing that I really find annoying is that when you hear that WWE is high on somebody, when you hear that they're high on someone, when you hear that, you'd be happy because you'd be like, oh, that's good. Oh yeah, that's good news. So then that way, that's good news because then that wrestler will get pushed. That is like your main excitement when you hear that Vince McMahon is high on them. You're like, oh yeah, that person's gonna get pushed. Yay, it's great to see. But the thing I don't understand is that if Vince McMahon is high on Bobby Roode, which is what loads of reports are saying, that Vince McMahon is high on Bobby Roode. How can Vince McMahon be high on Bobby Roode if what we're seeing right now with Bobby Roode, if he's high on him, why would he be versing people like Kurt Hawkins? If he was high on Bobby Roode, why isn't Bobby Roode Intercontinental Champion? Or why isn't he, in title picture contention? Why isn't he in the thought process of championships? That's the thing I don't understand. If you're high on someone, the obvious thing you do is push them. So that's the thing I really don't understand about, hearing Vince McMahon is high on Bobby Roode. I feel like that's just a load of shit, in my opinion. I feel like that's just a load of shit. It was the same thing with Asuka. Everybody believed Vince McMahon was high on Asuka, and that was very, very high on Asuka. And look what happened to her, And everyone thought, and it's also the same thing with Asuka. Everybody thought they put Asuka against Carmella because they were fixing the mistake they made. But in the end, Vince just laughed in everybody's face. So it proves that Vince isn't high on certain wrestlers, which is a darn shame. Which is a very darn shame. And speaking of guys who, and speaking of another wrestler who was really looking good, is Finn Balor, who is the next person I'm going to be talking about. Holy crap, Finn Balor, man, he's fallen flat on his face. I don't care what anybody says. He has really fallen down into the depths of graves, man. That is just absolutely atrocious on what WWE has been doing with Finn Balor, man. You know, he was in Intercontinental Championship contention, and now look at him. Now he's floating nowhere, and it sucks. It sucks for wrestlers like Finn Balor because you know how much talent these people have. You know how much talent certain wrestlers have, but it absolutely kills you to see these wrestlers get treated the way they do. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling on how these wrestlers just get really, really booked, and it drives a lot of people insane. And if the quality isn't good, then you know if the quality on my video isn't really that good, you know, my apologies. You know, there's not really anything you can do. There's not really anything that I can do. So if the video quality isn't good, then my apologies. But just listen to the sound of my voice. That will keep you entertained. Yeah, it'll pick up eventually, guys. It'll pick up eventually. But next, so yeah, Finn Balor's the same. Like, it sucks to see him get downgraded to where he is now, because I know what potential this guy has. We all know what potential he has, and it really does suck that he's being delegated to where he is. And yeah, it's definitely worth feeling sorry for him. And speaking of people who I personally feel sorry for, is the Iconics, man. Oh my god, don't get me started on the Iconics, man. What the hell is WWE doing? Seriously? I don't care what anybody says about the Iconics, whether if you like them or whether if you don't. It's preposterous how WWE could have messed up these two so easily. Like it only took them, you know, it only took them a few weeks just to completely kill the momentum that WWE gave them. I mean, like, seriously, how can you go from making a statement, from beating the shit out of Charlotte, to becoming, you know, complete jokes? How can you go from having a great debut to becoming horrendously pathetic and people laughing at you? Seriously, that's the thing that really aggravates me so much about WWE. They completely destroyed everything about the Iconics, and I'll always remain loyal to them, but God almighty, WWE really just... I can't stand WWE for what they did. It really makes me ill to see that WWE just completely ruined the Iconics. You know, that how can you book them so good in their debut and then just give nothing for them in return? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And that's the thing that pisses me off. That's the thing that really pisses me off. How can you go from making them so good and then giving them a good debut and then you completely ruin them? They've only won one match since arriving to the main roster, and it's a joke. They should still be winning matches to this day. Disgraceful, WWE. Disgraceful. Next person I'm going to be talking about is The Revival. Say yeah! Well, shouldn't really pump anybody up. Like, why should I? Because really nobody Everybody feels bad for the Revival, and I'm one of them. You know, I wasn't really a big follower of the Revival at first. Like, I didn't see much of them, but geez, they really impressed me. They really impressed me over the years, and it made me care about the Revival. And I was really looking forward to seeing them on the main roster. But I had a feeling, now I'm not a genius, but I had that feeling that the Revival were just going to end up like everybody else on the main roster. And that's exactly what happened. And yes, it sucks for the Revival, and a lot of people expected them to get a big push when they were brought up to the main roster. But the thing that really ruined their push was their injuries. They got injured. They continued and continued and continued to get injured. Now, I know some people might say, well, injuries happen, so injuries happen. Yes, they happen. That I 100% agree with. Injuries happen. But we don't know the real reason why they're not being pushed anymore. My guess is that Vince obviously just didn't like them. Or he just saw nothing in them, like he always does with certain NXT talents. But yeah, the Revival to me were, well, I didn't mention this with Finn Balor. I should have mentioned this with Finn Balor. The Revival should have been moved over to SmackDown. So should have Finn Balor. They should have been moved over to SmackDown Live very, very easily. Like, that's how you resurrect a career. You resurrect a career by moving them to a different brand. And like I said, it's a shame that great talents such as Finn Balor and the Revival just get wasted away, and it's a real darn shame. Speaking of tag teams that are completely wasted away, and I feel sorry for them. I only feel sorry for them because of, well, like, where are they? That's my question. Where are they? And you know who I'm talking about. The AOP, Authors of Pain, and I love saying it like that. AOP. You know, like, what the heck happened to AOP? Like they only appeared like twice. They've only appeared twice on Monday Night Raw, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Where are they? Like what did they do? What in the hell did they do wrong? And crap, I actually missed that gem. Oh my god, I actually missed it. Jesus. That was funny. That was actually pretty funny, but wow. Yeah, I got off topic there. Jesus. Yeah, I know, I got off topic there. I'm sorry. Yeah, but where are they? Where are the AOP, man? Where on earth are they? That's the thing. Where on earth are they? That's the thing I really do not understand. What on earth? Where are they? How can you go from having them appear twice and then they just disappeared? Like, they haven't shown up. It's absolutely pathetic how WWE... Hang on a sec, guys. My absolute apologies for that, guys. My parents called me over to... Nine News just showed off the ad for... the news article for WWE Super Showdown. Well, there you go, guys. You got your big highlight in this video. Where was I? Yeah, the AOP. Where the hell are they? That's the main issue I have here. Like, how can WWE go from bringing these two up to having them fade away into obscurity after 2 matches? Like that is by far the weakest way to completely kill momentum for a tag team. You guys thought if you guys thought what happened to the Iconics was bad, well, I feel like it's worse. I feel like the Iconics really got it worse. But holy moly, I think AOP really got the bad end of the stick. Like, how in the living Jesus can WWE be happy with themselves right now? That's the thing that really aggravates me. Bring AOP back, WWE. They are worth so much on Monday Night Raw. They're worth so much on Monday Night Raw. How can you just desert them? It's trash. It's absolute trash, and I just don't agree with it. I just don't agree with WWE. What did the AOP do to get shafted like this? Well, what did they do? That's my main question. What in the heck did they do to get the shaft? And that's one of the biggest things I'll never understand when it comes to wrestling, man. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's why I feel sorry for the AOP, man. Well, next person on this list is someone who could be out until the rest of throughout the rest of 2018. Which, if you guys saw my video last night, I spoke about it. Sami Zayn. I feel bad for Sami Zayn. Now, it's not because of personal reasons. I feel like he really got shafted, along with Kevin Owens. Like, sure, I wasn't the biggest fans of Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn has done some good stuff as a heel. But holy moly, man. Holy moly. Like, how can you go from doing great things on SmackDown Live to doing the worst shit of your entire life on Monday Night Raw? And that's the thing that really upsets me. That's the thing that really upsets me. Like, if you're gonna move, like, what was the point in moving Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to Monday Night Raw? What was the point in moving them if you're gonna do nothing with them? It's like Vince McMahon just put them on just for the sake of putting them there. It's a shame. It's an absolute shame, man. And I wish WWE knew what they had. Honestly, I wish they knew what they had in Sami Zayn. And it's clear as day they don't. Now, this next person on this list, you know, I've really been... I don't know what to say. A lot of people might be surprised about this, and I know a lot of people would be, because I haven't really said, you know, a lot of stuff about this person. I honestly actually feel really, really bad for Bayley. Yeah, I'm not kidding you guys. I actually do. I kind of feel pretty bad for Bayley, and yes, it's not very often you hear someone like me say that, because I'm not the biggest fan of Bayley. I'm not the biggest fan of Bayley. And that is just one of the things that I will gladly accept. I'll accept the fact that I'm not the biggest, you know, Bayley fan. So, yeah, I know I'm not the biggest Bayley fan, but geez, that doesn't mean I can't feel bad for her, right? Like, it's the same thing with Mickie James. I'm not really her biggest fan, but I feel bad for her. But, yeah. Mickie James, why do I feel bad for... Mickie James, Bayley. Why do I feel bad for Bayley? Well, why do I feel bad for Bayley? Well, that's kind of an easy one. I mean, like, she's really been shafted, in my opinion. She really has been shafted, and she really hasn't, you know, done much. It's like she's just become one of these girls on the roster who just say yes, and they just do what they need to do. And Bayley as a babyface, I've really never been a fan of babyface Bayley, and the thing that can easily change is that if you turn her heel. That's my sympathy for Bayley. It's time for her to change. That's my reason for the sympathy. It's because I want to see her change. I'm tired of this hug life Bayley, smiley happy Bayley who flings her hands everywhere and wants to give people hugs. I want that Bayley to end. It's time for Bayley to become a bad girl. It's time for her to turn heel and really become someone different. That's what I want to see in Bayley. That's kind of the reason why I feel bad for her. So I want to see a new change in Bayley. That's the reason for it, and hopefully you people really understand. Anyway, 2 more left, guys. There's 2 more left, and this is going to be the second last one. I feel very sorry for the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. Look, this guy was incredible on NXT. Well, we all know, everybody who's come from NXT is incredible. Maybe except the last one that I've got on the list. But most of the people who come from NXT, how about that? Most of the people that come from NXT are really good and they get shafted really bad. Ty Dillinger is the same thing. He has really, really been shafted. And it sucks for him, man. And for those who watch my channel, I'm going to tell you guys something that I don't think any of you didn't know until, well, so I'm going to tell you guys. I respect Ty Dillinger a lot more now, and I'll tell you why. It's because now I have found out some information about Ty Dillinger that I never knew about. He is in a current relationship with Peyton Royce. Yes, guys, the Perfect 10 is dating Peyton Royce. Very lucky guy, I'll tell you that. He's a very lucky guy, but that's not the reason why I feel sorry for him. I feel proud of him to able to nail Peyton Royce. But the reason why I feel bad for Ty Dillinger is because of how he's been handled on the main roster. I mean, like, you talk about underwhelming. He's very been underwhelming on the main roster. Again, it's not his fault. And I know that. I know that it's not the wrestlers' faults. I know none of these things that happen to the wrestlers are their own fault. Of course I know that. I'm not a retard. I know. But, holy moly. Ty Dillinger really does deserve a hell of a lot better. And hopefully he gets what he truly deserves in the future. You know, and maybe that could be the reason why Vince McMahon isn't pushing all these, you know, wrestlers now. It's because maybe he thinks maybe in the future they could get that big opportunity. But ultimately, Ty Dillinger's on this list because, well, we all just feel bad for him. We all believe that he deserves a hell of a lot better. Now, the final person on this list, and of course, I don't think many people, I think a lot of people would see this one coming. The final set that I feel sorry for are Mandy and Sonya. Now, the reason why, I know what some people are going to say. They're going to be like, oh, here we go, Patrick's going to go on one of his big rants. Well, look, you people need to understand, every person has different tastes in who they want pushed. I'm not the biggest Sonya Deville fan. Like I've said, I'm more of a Mandy fan than Sonya. And I'm not a Mandy fan because of her beautiful blonde hair or her looks, you know? I'm not a fan of her because of her looks. I'm a fan of her because I actually see the potential that this woman has. Nobody sees the potential in them. All they complain about is, oh, they've never should have been called up to the main roster. You know? They've never should have been called up to the main roster. They should still be in NXT. Don't you guys realize that they have done a hell of a lot more on the main roster than they have ever done in NXT? Whose fault is it that they were never used on NXT? It was Triple H. Triple H never used them. So how is it Mandy and Sonya's fault for the bad timing? So you guys need to understand, how is it their own fault that they got called up to the main roster when they technically shouldn't have? But I just don't want people to hate them because, oh, they were called up too early. Why is it no one Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan were never meant to be called up. They are way... Morgan and Logan are way worse than Mandy and Sonya. I would much more accept Mandy and Sonya on the main roster than friggin' cringe Morgan and cringe Logan. Jeez, they are horrendously bad. Those two are worse than Mandy and Sonya. So yeah, that's just something you guys need to think about. I would much prefer Mandy and Sonya than Liv and Sarah. So yeah, that's that one. But I've got more to say. Though. And you guys need to understand that Mandy and Sonya, they're young. They're very young women. They're like in their early... I think Mandy's like in her mid-20s. But you get what I mean. Like, all these wrestlers are young and, you know, they don't... You know, when you're a young age, you don't really have a lot of wrestling skills and all that shit. So, why doesn't people just understand that, you know, you're young and you don't have a lot of experience? Yeah, I understand people's frustrations that Mandy and Sonya should have been used a lot more. But again, what have I said? What have I said many times? How, like, it's not their fault that Triple H never bothered to decide to give them an opportunity. So yeah, that's my main gripe. That's my main gripe, guys. That's my main gripe with the Villain Rose. I just wish people would just give them a chance. That's all I want people to do. You don't have to like them, yes. But at least just give them a fair opportunity. And I messed this up. And you just need to give them a fair opportunity. That's all I want you to do. Is just give them a fair chance. But anyway, guys, that's about it. That's about the end of this video. And I hope you guys enjoy. And also enjoy the rest of the gameplay as this video closes. Talk to you guys later.